Switching gears, markets have shown some positive signs in the last few weeks with big reads on non-farm payrolls and retail sales, but investors appear to have forgotten one thing amidst all of these happenings. Over the course of 2 weeks, the Fed reminded everyone who is boss, and for that very reason, our own Brian Sazi is taking out his recession-watching binoculars once again. And you can read all about this in today's morning brief over at the Yahoo Finance homepage. But for more, let's dive into why investors should remain on recession watch into 2023 here. A lot of key nuggets within the morning brief this morning. One big thing that did jump out to me from the brief was this fact that Brian had added in here about the Federal Reserve and how they have embarked on inflation and cresting rate hiking cycle 9 times since 1961. 8 times out of that 9, a recession has followed.
Right. I mean, the Federal Reserve is the reason, effectively, right, that this potentially could be happening. And even if there are a lot of people out there who are talking about I won't even say no landing. I'm going to ban no landing from my vocabulary. There are people who are saying that we may not get a recession. Even those who are saying that mostly mean that in the short term, that if the Fed comes in and then does get more aggressive, that a recession could ensue eventually. So, you know, that's still, I think, in the mix for some people. And it's just that even the folks who are saying a recession is less likely, they're not saying it's not going to happen. They're saying the likelihood, the probability has gone down. I
think the probability for the Fed not to want to repeat the mistakes of the past when they thought that the inflation busting had been done. And I mean, this dates us back to the late 60s, early 70s, I believe. And thinking about how then it ramped up once again, you've got a Fed that's going to be much more cautious about the possibility for that once again occurring. And so with that in mind, even as we heard some of the Fed speak last week, that was extremely more hawkish than was actually shown through the meeting. And of course, we'll get the meeting minutes later on this week. But in that press conference, you had the decision being made, you had the tenor that Jay Powell had given off, but then you had some of the other members of the FOMC come out and be far more hawkish than had been given off in the tone and tenor that Fed Chair Jay Powell had exhibited, even when he was taking some of the questions from the media.
I mean, you always fight the last war, right?
Yeah.
So that's true of the Fed as it is of most of us, right? Yeah. Is that you are drawing from your experience. And of course, the Fed doesn't want to make the same mistakes again. No. That doesn't mean they're not going to.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want that job.